Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Today, our group are going to present about bringing innovation with effective English language education project management that consists of me, Sara Fitriani, Ananda Zahra, Tyco Handerson, Andienie Dwi Eki Putri, and Tria Mulya Utami. Next. Okay, the first task is based on the article by Chong in 2016, 10 innovations that have changed English language teaching that published in the British Council. Next, the first task, number one, is choose 4 of those innovations that interest us the most. We choose mobile learning and bring your own device, communicating with people online, students steering their own learning, and teaching soft skills and critical thinking skills. Next. I will explain about the mobile learning and bring your own device. This concept is interesting because people nowadays already implement this in their work or school. Mobile learning is already existed since a long time ago when technology is capable to support learning. But this era is special because pandemic makes people have to do learning at home. So mobile learning becomes a concept that must be owned and mastered. As the nature of technology that always improving every second, this becomes a challenge for both, but especially the teacher. We are interested to this topic because as a teacher, we need to adapt to technology in order to achieve high efficiency learning. When it comes to new system, it must have disadvantages and limitations. We are also concerned to learn and look forward to those and how to anticipate and strengthen the weakness started from the view as a learner. The second is communicating with people online. We all know that the best way to practice skills is to put it on actual context. This phenomenon has become research topics for many researchers that proves that communicating with people online who communicates in English have positive impacts on students' English language skills. It is for us interesting because by using online communication platforms, there is no boundaries to connect people. We do not have to going down the street or tourist destinations to hunt tourists for talking with them. We are curious to the curriculum of language learning in the future. Will communicating with people online be an obligation in the future? And the next part will be presented by Tico.
Okay, thank you. So the next part is number 9, students steering their own learning. Why we are interested to this? Because when students steering their own learning, they are become self-motivated, autonomous, curious, and disciplined, and have the value on their own learning. However, the learners can still require certain support system to facilitate by the teachers. In many aspects, this has changed the teacher roles from the knowledge transmitter to consultant, guide, coach, and the facilitator. Students can learn freely without any restraint from the teacher. This will develop students' creative thinking skill. Okay, next. And then number 10, teaching soft skill and critical thinking skills. Why we are interested to this topic? Because to become a better communicator, we should go beyond grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, and also look at helping communicate effectively in international setting, or to do the communication in the world of business, trade, education, and tourism. And in this case, we need personal attributes that enable someone to interact effectively and harmoniously with other people. That is known as soft skill. And critical thinking makes everything easier to solve. And when we apply critical thinking, we can easily learn something new. Now we move to number 2. Will be read again by Sara.
Thank you very much, Tico. And how much do we know about each of these innovations? First, digital platforms. Digital learning platforms has significantly changed the face of education, online learning, offline and learning, and blended learning, to name a few. And a digital learning platform is a software designed to provide great assistance in the educational process. There are a variety of options. We may find it in learning management systems or LMS, learning content management systems, and virtual classroom tools and virtual learning environments. A few reasons why digital learning platforms are so beneficial for teachers it makes it easier to make planning lessons. It's extremely creative. It's completely automatic, and teachers and students have freedom to do their learning. A clear view of students' progress. Topic reviews made easy. The better students perform, and the more rewarding it is for their teachers. And the last, teaching with one step ahead of the rest. Okay. The next is online corpora. Corpus, in the sense of database containing text, is a widely used tool in language research. Linguists use corpora to study how language is used in the natural text and to test their hypothesis about language, which words are used more or less frequently than others, and in what types of texts in which lexical and grammatical patterns do words tend to appear, and which words and grammatical patterns tend to occur together. In language learning situations, corpora can act as reference tools along with dictionaries and grammars. Everyone can search for specific words and expressions and get examples of how they are used in their natural environment. However, the selection of texts and the way they are organized was planned with language studies in mind. This means that not all text databases are corpora, as they may have been created for other purposes. Examples, there are newspaper archives and public documents, and the recent examples for us is Grammarly or online thesaurus and so on. Online teacher professional development and global platforms. Online teacher professional development is then perspective for enhancing teachers' knowledge, skills, and competencies through flexible, low-cost, and large-scale alternative on a wide range of topics. It refers to teachers' professional development provided in the form of courses, seminar, workshops, discussions, resources, and other form within an online environment, synchronously and asynchronously, or blended through websites, blogs, wikis, podcasts, social medias, and other platforms. Mobile learning, as we mentioned earlier, Len and C explained mobile learning is a learning model that allows learners to access learning materials anytime, anywhere using mobile technology and the internet. Coates 2009 states that mobile technology refers to devices that are both mobile and provide instant access to information. So the concept of mobile learning are mobility of technology, learning, and learners. And bring your own device refers to being allowed to use a device owned by an individual rather than being required to use an officially provided device. Next, communicating with people online. Because English is now widely regarded as an essential language for worldwide communication, learning English is no longer limited to the classroom. Rather, it can be obtained from a variety of sources outside the classroom, including internet communication platforms. As a result, it is thought that much may be learned via online settings because everything is at the fingertips of foreign language learners. Okay. Rather, language learners no longer need to leave their homes, travel to meet people from different countries, or learn the language and culture. Rather, the needs can be met online with a single click. For example, using Skype to communicate or OMI and etc. Next will be presented by Tyco again. Tyco, time is yours.
Okay, number 6 is online authentic materials. The biggest benefit of the internet for language learners for the availability of the authentic resource for learning language. It can be as any media split in the internet, like videos, audio, and pictures, and enable teachers to use contents with messages that students want to hear and see. We can learn language from the internet, for example, watching TED Talks, videos on YouTube to develop pedagogically sound approach to language learning, or hearing the new podcasts to develop our public speaking, or watch some movie clips for the example of interaction between people. But with so much content available to us, choosing the right online material is crucial for efficient and effective learning. And then we move to the IWB, or interactive whiteboard. The IWB started appearing in classroom in the early part of the century and has now become the staple of many classrooms in Britain and around the world. By using interactive screen, it's often used to replace the normal chalkboard. Now, then is dogme, or material-led teaching. Dogme is a communicative approach that focuses on the conventional communication between learners and teachers. It encourages teaching without textbooks. The principle of dogme such as interactivity and engagement between teacher and student by doing conversation and dialogues. And then students steering their own learning. Over the last couple of decades, learning has gradually become moving from the teacher-centered top-down approach to the student-centered. The trend has accelerated rapidly in recent years with the growing quantity of and quality of information on the internet. In many aspects, this changes the teacher roles become from the knowledge transmitter to consultant, guide, coach, and the facilitator. And then teaching soft skills and critical thinking skills is to enable our students to become better communication. We should perhaps go beyond grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation and look at helping them communicate effectively in international settings. English is the world lingua franca. Many of business, trade, and education and tourism. In this case, we need personal attributes that enable someone to interact effectively and harmoniously with other people, or simply known as soft skills. Now we move to question number 3. Do you think that you need to know more about each of them? Elaborate your answer. Yes, we need to know more about it, especially the term below that majority of people didn't understand, such as dogme and the EWB. We need to know what exactly those and how to implicate in English language learning activity. These 10 innovations are complement to each other. To understand and apply them to the classroom, we need to knowledge more about them. The concept, the advantage, disadvantage, strengths, weakness, opportunity, threats, and so on. If we know those clearly, we can finally choose the suitable methods, approach, and strategy. So it will be clear about what are we going to teach and to learn about how the classroom is conducted and how the technology is applied, how to handle the classroom. So now we move to text 2 will be read by another member of the group.
Okay, thank you, Tyco. This is the article that was published in 2018 by the same author of the previous article. It discusses then trends and innovations in ELE for 2018 that are listed below. We have to read the article closely with discussion of the previous article in mind. Then we have to answer the question that follow. Okay. Question number 1. Which innovation discussed in the first article do you think has affected each of the 2018 trends for innovations? We have answered 4 of the innovations that we think has affected each of the 2018 trends for innovation. The first one is mobile learning and bring your own device to gamification. Gamification is a learning innovation based on the idea of mobile learning and bring your own design. By allowing students to bring their own devices, teachers can integrate technology in the classrooms. And in line with this innovation, there is also gamification, which was introduced later. Long time ago, so many teachers not allowing their students to bring their own device to the classroom because they are feared that the students would likely using it to play games instead of focus on learning. Thus, when bring your own device is introduced, teachers are not afraid because they can use gamification to stimulate learners' language skills, critical thinking skills, and problem-solving skills. The second one is online authentic materials to learning and teaching management platforms. The next innovation that has affected the trend in the second article is online authentic materials innovation. In the second article, this trend develops into learning and teaching management platforms. Learning management platforms, or we can also call it by LMS, are increasingly popular. Not only provide learning in materials, but they also give learners an online way to find handouts, continue classroom discussions, and submit homework. In this time, online platforms are also used to communicate with parents and other stakeholders, give teachers and administrators a better overview of curriculum, and help to manage lesson plans and materials. For example, like at Moodle. The third one is students steering their own learning to creating and sharing content. Over the last couple of decades, learning has gradually been moving from a teacher-centered top-down approach to a student-centered bottom-up line. This trend has accelerated rapidly in recent years with the growing quantity and quality of information on the internet. And in this trend, teachers involve students in decisions making about what to do in the classrooms. This trend developed in 2018, as in the second article. Creating and sharing content is a trend where students are allowed to produce their own content and share what they have created with others. Popular sites like Quizzes and Socrative allow both teachers and students to create online games and play games that are shared by users from around the world. Websites like Canva allow teachers and learners to express their creativity through posters, social media, memes, and banners. Then there are minority sites, comic strips creation sites, and movie editing or movie making sites. This trend encourages students to be more creative and able to manage their own learning style, and also allow learners to use language creatively and turn language practice into a fun and engaging activity. Next, please. The fourth is teaching soft skills and critical thinking skills into inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning is based on the idea of teaching soft skills and critical thinking skills innovation that suggests teachers to enable our students to become better communicators. We should perhaps go beyond grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, and to look at helping them to communicate effectively in international settings. However, the scenarios that teachers come across in some course materials can seem simplified and unrealistic. People argue that this kind of learning does not engage students with the 21st century skills. Thus, inquiry-based learning provides teachers with courses that allow students to practice the soft skills and communication skills needed to take part in the global communities of the 21st century. The next question will be explained by Zahra.
Okay, thank you, Tria. The next one is question number 2. According to your knowledge, have these trends for innovation been replaced with new ones? If yes, what are the new ones you know? Based on our discussion, the innovation that has been replaced by the new one is the interactive whiteboard innovation that was often used in the offline classroom setting. However, since the COVID-19 outbreak that led to the implementation of work from home or online learning, this innovation has not been used anymore. This innovation has been replaced by the use of learning and teaching management platforms that allow teachers to remote the classroom without have to meet their students face to face. And then question number 3. Browse the Kemendikbudristek and Direktorat GTK social media page for information on current trends in Indonesian school context with focus on EFL teaching and learning. The trend that we found from the social media of Kemendikbudristek is mapping the competence of prospective high school English teachers in Indonesia. Kemendikbudristek through the Direktorat Jenderal Guru dan Tenaga Kependidikan, or Ditjen GTK, is collaborating with the British Council Indonesia Foundation. The form of this collaboration is in the form of testing 2,000 Pendidikan Profesi Guru, or PPG, students using the English score, which is a mobile English test from the British Council. The English score test held is part of Pendidikan Profesi Guru program initiative. Apart from mapping the proficiency of English teachers across Indonesia, this collaboration will also identify teachers who need additional support and training. Then English teachers who successfully complete this program will be awarded the title of GR atau Profesi Guru. This program can also reach English teachers who live in remote locations throughout Indonesia because English score is available on both Android and iOS-based mobile phones. This is something that is often a logistical challenge in terms of internet accessibility and connectivity. The test results are also shared by the ministry through a secure online dashboard because it is accompanied by the ability to analyze individual or combined results. For task 3, it will be delivered by Andien. Andien, time is yours.
Task 3 is implication for EFL teachers or educators. The first question is, do you think it is important for ELT educators to become informed about current trends and innovations in the ELT field? The changes for ELT educators to consider and why? Based on our discussion, yes, it is important for ELT educators to be informed about the current trends and innovation in the ELT field. The world is changing, and so is education. A traditional classroom where the teacher is the only source of knowledge for students does not lead students to achieve the 21st century skills. Current trend and innovation can develop the knowledge and skills that students need in this modern era. In addition, current trends and innovation vary the way of teaching and make the classroom atmosphere more fun and interesting. The change for ELT educators to consider is the change of technology. Technology change in the blink of an eye. As technology develops, important knowledge and skills emerge and must be mastered by the educators and students so that they are not out of date. Educators must develop their teaching methods. They must know the latest trend and consider whether these trends are good enough to be applied in the classroom. The second question is, with reference to your response to first and second, what do you think the implication of those innovations to you as a prospective EFL teacher? What do you think you need to do in response to them? The implications of this innovation also make teaching and learning activities easier and more efficient. We have conditions that educators and students know how to use it and in accordance with the needs and objectives of the class. What educators need to do is respond to them is first to study these innovations in depth. As stated previously, those innovations can vary the way of teaching. To do that, educators must first master the innovation, how they are used, their advantages and disadvantages, and etc. The second is to consider the suitability of implementing this innovation in the classroom. The innovation is deemed suitable to be applied in the classroom. The educator can apply it. On the other hand, if it is deemed unsuitable and even disrupts teaching and learning activities, it's better not to apply it. This is reference to use. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.